Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about Contentstack today. My name is Seth Friedman. I'm your account executive and based out of Dallas, Texas, working in customer experience at Contentstack for several years. I'll be sharing some information on Contentstack with you all before we dive into the platform. I also wanted to introduce Eric Crump. He's based in Ridgeville, Indiana. He'll be your technical guru for today's session. We'll be able to dive into the platform. As we go through today's call, please feel free to drop questions in the chat and we will work on answering them as we go. So why are we all here today? As you've probably seen, digital interactions are far surpassing any other form of connection with brands these days. From a high level view, we're seeing that companies are just having a hard time keeping up with this digital first economy. In fact, 70% of customers today interact with brands through digital means first. So we really need to make sure companies are prepared for creating the best digital experiences to engage their customers and keep them coming back. And with creating these amazing digital experiences comes with creating personal experiences for the customers because customers are people and they want these digital experiences to be personal. 76% of consumers tell us that they are more likely to purchase from brands that create personal experiences and are able to deliver content to all their digital channels at the right place and at the right time. From what we've learned from our existing customers and what we're learning from brands like yourself is that with your current technology stack, your teams may be experiencing challenges that are holding them back and making it harder for them to engage with their customers. You all might be feeling these pain points today, but it could be that old technology isn't keeping up or more development cycles have to happen just to make that old technology even work. Or even small tasks are becoming extremely time consuming and everything is just becoming manual. All these problems are making brands feel overwhelmed and they might not know where to start to improve their digital journey. If you're feeling this one, you're not alone. One great example of this is Levi's. You're probably already familiar with Levi's, and maybe some of you are already wearing some Levi's jeans today. Levi's has a large focus on creating strong customer experiences. They knew that legacy technology was holding them back from being able to tell their story and engage with customers at every digital touch point at the right time. They turned to us and they felt comfortable and confident to trust our experiences to help adopt a solution that proved worthy education and investment. With this investment, they realized a 29% increase in online revenue and engaged better with their customer. Brands like the Miami Heat, MongoDB, Iceland Air, and many others have heard buzzwords like headless, composable, and MACH. I'm going to guess you all have heard these buzzwords before. These companies knew they needed to do something, but just didn't know how or when to start. These brands ended up putting their trust in Contentstack, and that's because we have a no-fail policy, which has resulted in a 98% customer retention rate and a 97% willingness to recommend. We're not just a technology, we're a partner. Brands that have evaluated Contentstack have an interest in telling more stories and can do so by publishing faster in new geos through new experiences. Now they can future-proof their digital investment and deliver personal journeys that have a tangible financial impact. You can be like Levi's and be ready for a full transformation, or maybe you're just like HP. Many customers are honestly like HP. They came to us with a critical business initiative, something they needed to move fast on, in particular faster than what their current systems can support. So they chose Contentstack for that initiative and saw success, and then chose to invest in us long-term as a full replacement strategy for the legacy monolith solution. This initiative became the highest growth initiative in HP history and was launched in just 50 days. Both Levi's and HP had requirements which were a tech platform that were second to none, a true headless CMS that started a composable digital experience journey, a company with expertise, which just wasn't proven after the purchase, but was demonstrated and proven time after time through the evaluation process, and 3, proven economics. And it's not just HP and Levi's who had those requirements and trusted Contentstack, it's all of these brands as well. The #1 toy manufacturer, Mattel, #1 gaming company, Riot Games, #1 golf equipment company, Callaway, and the list goes on and on. All these brands and these customers of ours realized that a change needed to be made. And yes, change is hard, but having someone that's ready for that change, like all of you who joined us today, is where change starts. Brands have decided to put their trust into the hands of Contentstack to enhance, transform, and augment their digital journey. With all that said, I'm going to hand it over to Eric just to show you how Contentstack works.
Okay, thank you, Seth. We'll share my screen. So as I go through this, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Normally a demo of Contentstack would take me 45, 50 minutes. Obviously, we're not going to take that long, so I'll hit the highlights. And if there are things, you have some burning questions, I'm happy to stop and answer them. But I'm going to start on this demo webpage that I built. It's a bakery website, but there's nothing special about it. There's the same thing you would see on any web page. There's images, there's heroes, there's text, there's that kind of thing. But you'll notice that as I'm hovering over pieces of content, this edit button is popping up. It's because I'm on a preview version of our site and I have the SDK installed. So if I wanted to change something, like maybe I see that this welcome text here is not what I'm looking for. So I want to click the edit button and I'm immediately going to be taken into Contentstack. And we're going to notice two things right away. One is on the left is our editor for content, and on the right is the preview of our site. So I said I wanted to change this welcome text here, and I see that right over here. And so let's change it. We'll say, welcome bread lovers. And so now we've changed the text. We've seen in real time that that has shown up on our page. We're happy with this change, and now we're going to publish it. So I'll click the publish button, and I'm going to select what environment I'm going to send that to. I'm going to send that to my preview environment. I could select what language I'm going to publish in. I could select that I want to publish it later, but now is good. So I'll pick send. And now if I go back over to my page and refresh and scroll down, we'll see now it says welcome bread lovers instead of just welcome. So very simple use case, but you can start to see the power of what we're doing here. As a content editor, I saw that there was something that I wanted to change. I clicked the edit button. I went into the platform. I made my change. I published it. I didn't have to talk to a developer. I didn't have to know how to write any code. I didn't have to know HTML, anything like that. I was completely self-sufficient as an editor. Okay. So there's our simple use case. Let's dig a little deeper. So if we scroll down here, you'll notice that I have content arranged in what we call modular blocks. That's basically the horizontal swaths of content on our page. If I wanted to rearrange those, I could. So maybe I'll take my image grid and put it above my text. And now we'll see that they're in a different order. If I wanted to drill down into this a little bit, then maybe I want to rearrange the images that are in here. So let's put our sweet treats in front of bread, and we'll see that it shows up that way. Now, if I want to move things around, I can certainly do that as well, like change the interface a little bit. Maybe I want to change this so sweet treats now takes up 2 columns and it's a bigger image. And that's going to leave some room down here. So let's add another item. Next to wedding, let's add a section about cookies. So I'll go into my DAM. Now, Contentstack's DAM will be able to hold any kind of file that you want to put in there, whether it's images or PDFs or text files or whatever you want. You can store those in there. And so I'm going to choose this picture of cookies that I have in there. And we'll see that shows up. And let's give it some text. And we'll say this is cookies. And let's make this a little bigger. So let's take the 2 columns. And there we go. So now we've rearranged the interface a little bit. We've added another item. We can also select the page that this links to. And so we're all self-sufficient from that. Now, I did select an image right out of our DAM, but if you want to select an image from an outside source, you could do that as well. I do have a integration with Cloudinary set up. So if I click the button here, then we'll see that it opens up my integration with Cloudinary. From here, I can select an image. Now, I don't have a nice food picture in here, but we'll just pick a picture of this tree now, and I'll hit insert. And I'm going to remove the image that's coming out of our own dam. And now we'll see, instead of this being served out of Contentstack, now this image is being served out of Cloudinary or any other integration that you may have. And you'll find popular integrations to popular tools in our marketplace, like Aprimo and Cloudinary and several others. One thing I will mention is, if you have your own, or you're using some like your own backend systems, or a dam that's not in our marketplace, you could use those as well. There's no real special sauce here to the integration that we built with Cloudinary or our others. You have that same tooling available to you, and so you can have those outside sources integrate right into the editor experience as well. Okay, pause there for just a second. Are we good on questions so far, Seth?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. So we've had a look at what it's like to edit content, but let's have a look at what it's like to create new content. So I'm going to go back to my list of entries here, and I'm going to create a new one. So I'll pick new entry. And what I want to do is I want to create a new page. Now, the page I'm going to create is for our careers page. So I'm going to call this careers, and I will publish this. And when I do that, it'll be available in my live preview. So if I open up live preview here, you'll see that there's no real content yet. There's just the header and the footer. So let's add some content here. The first thing I'm going to do is add a hero. So I'll pick hero, and I'm going to choose an image for this. Now, since this is a careers page, we probably want a nice smiling employee. So I'll take the picture of this baker. There we go. Now I'm going to need to add some text. So I'll call this careers. Come work with us. So I can add my text here. Now I can do some other things to make this look a little nicer. Maybe I want this to be on the other way around and move the text to the other side. Or maybe I want this to be a full-size image. I could also change the text to be dark, but that's hard to see on this image, so we'll leave it light. Now, a couple of things to note here is that these are properties that, as the developer, I've gone in and allowed the editor to change these specific things. These aren't necessarily, specific things to Contentstack. So basically what this allows me to do is, as I don't want the content editor to be able to break our design guidelines or the look and feel of the page. And so I've let them, like for text, I give them the option to have light and dark text. I could give them a color picker, which lets them pick any color that they want, and they could make everything magenta or whatever, and just kind of destroy the whole look and feel of the page. But instead, I've restricted them to two options here, and I know that those will always fit with our style guidelines.
Hey, Eric,
So,
sorry to interrupt here. We have a question. Can you do rich text editing?
yes, so we're going to add text next. So now that we have our image there, let's add some text. So here's our text box. Now here's the rich text editor. Those come in two different forms. There's one that returns just JSON to the front end, and there's one that returns HTML as they write it. Now, we have about 14 minutes left. That's almost enough time for me to write a whole article here, but that's a little boring. So instead of doing that, I'm going to have the AI create that for us. So I'll click the AI assistant here, and I'm going to tell it to create a job description create a job description for a professional baker at Compass Rose Bakery. And now the AI is going to generate that for us. There's a nice opening here. There'll be some responsibilities, job requirements, that kind of thing. And then it'll probably give some kind of closing. Now, the nice thing about this is I can take the AI assistant and point it to my own internal content. I can point it to my web pages, any other items that I may have. It's going to start to understand my voice, and it's going to deliver content that is much more specific to me and within my own guidelines. But for now, we just asked it a general question, and it did the best shot that it could. But if we open this up, then yep, we're looking pretty good. You know, we have our hero and our job description so far. And now we need to give it a title. Now, again, I could write a title, but we'll let the AI do that for us. So I'm going to tell the AI, I want you to go create a headline and base that headline off of the body that you just wrote. So there it goes. There is our headline. Looks pretty good. All right, so I want to add one more thing to this page, and that's that what you see very often on a careers page is all the bright smiling faces of your employees to make it look like the most awesome place in the world to come and work. So I want to add that as well. And where I store my employee information is actually in my own homegrown backend web services. In my case, it's a Node web service backed by a MongoDB database. And I want to be able to reach into that inside a Contentstack. So I've built this integration, and this is the same way that we saw the Cloudinary integration before, but in my case, it's my own homegrown thing. So I'm going to go down here and select people. And then for a subcategory, I'm going to select my employees. Now, it went out, it fetched those list of employees from my backend system. And now if I select those, we'll see that we can add those right to the page. So you could use this type of tooling for anything that you might dream up. You know, there's customers that will use this to select products or select store locations or people like this. So anything that you want to integrate and put right into the content editor's experience, you can do that as well with custom integrations like this. So great, there's our page. You know, it looks pretty decent. We have a hero, we have our text here, we have our images. So now I'm going to publish this. And what I want to do is have it linked from my main page. So I'm going to go back to my entries and find my header section. And under jobs, I'm going to say, okay, I want to link to the page that we just created. It's this careers page. And now I'll publish this out. And now if I go back to my page here and refresh, we'll see that if I click the jobs link, it is now the page that we just created. So again, I just wanted to reiterate that as a content editor, I was able to do this all on my own. I didn't have to write any code or get a developer involved. Pretty straightforward to be able to manage all of that. Okay. So I want to dig into a few more things that are available for the content editor. And moving across the top here, the first thing is the ability to handle multiple languages. So right now I'm editing in English, but if I wanted to move over to Spanish, then we'll see, okay, here's my page and it is localized in Spanish. And all of my items here, of course, are in Spanish. One thing to note about localization is if I change something on the Spanish side, it won't necessarily affect things on the English side. So if I wanted to have a banner that only shows up for my Spanish speakers, you could do so. Or maybe you have content in multiple countries. If I had a banner that I only wanted to show up in Mexico or in Spain, then I could put that banner here, and then anyone viewing from those locales would only see that content. Another thing to mention over here is versioning. So right now I'm on version 33, but if I roll back to, if I select version 32, then it's going to roll back my content. And here it no longer says welcome bread lovers like before. Now it just says welcome. So we're right back to where we started when the demo first started. One thing to mention in here is, you know, when you get to version 10,450, it's just you have no idea what all those numbers are. So we do give you the ability to rename them. I could name this, maybe this is spring sale. Or what some people do is name them after JIRA tickets, so they keep track of those things. So I can rename that, and now when I want to refer to that, I can click right on it and revert to that one. Another thing that I can do is I can compare versions. If I click compare here, then we'll see that I can see side by side what's changed. Things that are different show up in red. So we see that here's where we started and here's where we changed it to. And then most of the things on here are probably the same. But you can see that side by side comparison of everything. One thing that definitely is big with our customers is the ability to use workflow. So right now we've been publishing everything with the publish button, but typically most users wouldn't have that. I have that button because I'm an admin, but most users, you don't want them to be able to just change some content and throw it up to the web page. So what you would do instead is use workflow. So I'm an editor, I've made my change, I'll click the change button and I'll move this from the draft stage to the review stage. I could say when this is due, it's due tomorrow, and then I could say who's going to be the reviewer, or maybe I'll even select a role. So it'll go to all the content managers and let them review it. I could notify them by email, and then I could say I changed the welcome message. So now what happens is when I hit update, the email is going to go out to the content managers. It's going to have a link right to this piece of content. They click on it, they get here, and then they're going to be able to say, yes, I like this. We can move it to the next stage, or no, this is bad, move it back to draft. And then you can leave your messages and that kind of thing. So you can put very strict rails around how your content moves from stage to stage. Who is able to do that? What role do they have to have in order to do that? So there's very granular permissions around this. I can also set different workflow for different pieces of content. So this is a workflow for my homepage, but I could have a different workflow for my blog articles or anything like that. So you can have different teams manage workflow differently. Along with that, there are some collaboration tools available. So if I click this, then you'll see that I have these messages that I've gone back and forth with Caitlin here. And if I want to leave a message for somebody, I can do that over here with the button. So I can say, hey, Caitlin, I changed the message. So then again, she would get an email and then she can click back in here. She can look at it. You could resolve the thing if you like it. You can leave other messages. And then we could also see a whole timeline of our history here. One other thing to mention while we're on this page is our ability to get help. I think that is one thing that definitely makes us stand out. If I click the help up here, you'll see that there's some nice context sensitive articles. But if I want to talk to somebody, I can. So I'll pick chat with support. And typically within 2 minutes, someone from support will answer your question. Of course, we're going to see the first thing that happens is the bot answers the question or answers you, but there's this handy button to talk to a live agent. So I can do that, says I'm up next. And in just a minute, a support agent will answer my message. So it doesn't matter if you're a dev or a content editor or what your role is, then you're going to be able to have help right away. And we see that an agent has answered me already. That might have been the highlight of their day, but I'm sorry, we're going to close that message and move on. So we only have a couple of minutes left. Okay, so that is basically things from the content editor side. That's a very quick tour of things. Is there any questions in the chat right now? I'll cover a few other things if not. Looks like
No questions. Yep.
Okay. One thing that I want to mention is the ability to not only publish, right when the content is ready to publish, but I can also publish in the future if I want. So if I click down here, I can add items to a release. So what I could do is, if I have a lot of different pieces of content that I want to change, I can build all that into a release and then release that at a certain time. So an example might be Black Friday. I'm going to change a bunch of my pages. Those are all going to go live on Black Friday. So I can add them here, and then I can schedule this for a specific time. I can also, during that week, I could say, all right, the pages are also going to change on Saturday over the weekend. And then on Cyber Monday, they're going to change again. You could schedule all those releases. Like you could build all your content, change all those pages for each one, schedule all those releases. and then be able to enjoy your turkey on on that weekend instead of logging in and publishing everything and doing all that. You can be assured that all of those things will go out at one time. Moving down over here, then we'll also see that when I want to see my releases, I have my link to my release preview here. So we'll have a nice calendar that'll have a link to all of your items on there. I don't think that I have any on my calendar right now. Maybe I do under preview and yeah, so I can see Black Friday. If I click on all the links, it'll bring up the page. You can see exactly what things are going to look like on that specific time. Another interesting feature in here is our workflow board. So as I go through those tasks that we saw earlier, you can assign all of those in here as well. So if I want to say, all right, homepage is now in the review stage, then I can move this here and set this up the same way that I was doing previously in the editor for workflow. Now, the first question that I always get here is, hey, can I hook this up to monday.com or can I hook this up to Jira or whatever? Absolutely. Contentstack is API first from the ground up. Everything that we're doing in the UI here, you can do from the API as well. So we can respond to all those events. This could be a two-way thing where I move it here and it affects monday.com. You move it in Monday and it changes it here. So you can build all of those type of integrations as well. Okay, so again, very quick whirlwind tour. And, there's an easy another half hour worth of stuff to talk about. But I hope this gave you at least a taste of what it's like to be able to use Contentstack. And there is like a minute left. If there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can pass it back.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions, but I did want to say with a minute left, thank you all for joining us today. We do look forward to collaborating with you on your upcoming digital initiatives. Thanks, everyone.